welcome back to our channel, guys. Thank you for tuning back in. Today I have two amazing guests with me, including my co-host, which I'm going to introduce. So first I have my co-host Talia with me. Talia, do you want to say hello?
Hey guys, welcome back.
Good. And also I have Mr. Tunde Bella, who is a renowned MC and a healthcare practitioner, joining us today to air his opinion. Do you want to say hello to?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
And then, last but not least, we have Onyi of Velvet Faces by Onyi, who's a freelance makeup artist and a human hair retailer with us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, today we're going to be talking about rape in society and how rampant it's gotten. Has it always been the same? Is it the same as it used to be, or is it getting worse? This is obviously due to the situation, or the viral situation that's happened in Nigeria, in Benin State, of a 22-year-old 100-level student who was brutally raped and killed in the last week. So we just thought we'd air our opinion on it to kind of shed light on the situation on rape in Nigeria and in the world at large. So going into this topic, for me, when I saw that, let me ask you, Mr. Two, and I'm so glad that we have a man on board today, because sometimes as women we tend to look at things very, it is obviously an emotional situation. We look at things from a very emotional standpoint. I just want to ask you, did you hear the incident that happened, and how did that make you feel as a man?
So I heard about the incident. Well, someone pointed my attention to it on Facebook. I It was shocking. It was shocking, and no one should ever have to go through that. It's criminal. It's disgusting. It's just a shame that it seems to be an integral part of the Nigerian nation. Not only the Nigerian nation, it's a global thing. I have a few numbers that I'll read to you later
Right.
About consent, age of consent. So yeah, it's a deep-rooted problem.
Right. Thank you. And also, let's hear it from a woman's standpoint. Did you put yourself in that situation? I mean, I know we're all, slightly older than the lady that it's happened to, but we've all been at that age. So let me ask you, Talia, when you saw it, did you kind of, I mean, obviously we were emotional about it. Did you put yourself in that situation? Did you imagine your kids in that situation? What did you think? What went through your mind?
When I saw that gruesome scene, the pictures
Right.
and eventually read the story, my heart went out to her. My heart went out to her mother. Like you rightly said, I'm raising a daughter myself, and I cannot fathom. Like I will probably commit murder if it was to happen
Right.
to my child, because as human beings, I believe that we all should adapt the ability to be kind to each other. That was so unkind. It's so unkind to take something so precious to a woman as intercourse. Intercourse is precious. I don't care how anybody wants to see it.
Right.
It's such an intimate thing. It's something that brings two people that genuinely care about each other together. And to take that without consent, without the girl's knowledge, because she had no idea that was coming for her that evening. Otherwise, she wouldn't have gone to the church to study. She
Right.
went there to study, to make sure that she still has a fighting chance in her society to be somebody. And somebody, out of greed and out of selfishness, took that from her. That literally, my heart sank. Like I cried, because I'm a very emotional person on a normal
Yeah.
day. So reading that and watching that and seeing all the interviews, and it really, really, really was sad. For me, that kind of overshadowed every other thing that's going on. A lot is going on in the world, but just that feeling, it took every other thing away from me for that moment. It was
Right.
just too overwhelming.
Okay. I think you did say it's an intimacy that is shared between two people that love each other. I mean, even if you don't love somebody, as long as you're giving it freely. So,
Yeah.
as long as if you want to be, an open book without, being too vulgar, as long as it's given freely. And here we go into consent. Oyinda, I just want to ask you to kind of shed some light. So how do we get consent? Is there a wrong way of saying no? How is there a if I say no, you would assume that it would be enough. But some people say, oh, the no maybe you weren't firm enough. Is there a wrong way? Could there ever be a wrong way of saying that?
I think for women, what a lot of men don't understand is that the reason why even a lot of people give into these, pressures or, even to sex is because when you say no, it feels like there's a consequence after is I'm saying no, but then I don't know if my life is in danger, if it's going to harm me, or if it's going to do something to me. So yeah, I'm just saying, even after I say no and he refuses, okay, I'm just going to give in. I feel like a normal human being, there is no right or wrong way to say, to understand no. No means no. Because if a man tells a man no, he instantly understands. So why is it so different, for men to understand? That's why, for instance, now as ladies or as women, when men ask for our numbers and and we give them out of pressure, just so, oh, I don't want him to keep disturbing me, I don't want him to keep following me, because we've heard so many ridiculous things of how I asked her for a number, she didn't give me, so I did this to her. They see it as a form of punishment for you saying no, whereas
Right.
it's my body, I'm entitled, to choose whatever I want. So I feel like today I was listening to it, so I saw a video, and this guy was trying to justify why to me he was justifying rapists, because he was like, oh, some ladies are rude, and she would say no. So in my head I'm like, okay, so you raping her, is that a form of punishment for her saying no? We're
Right.
human beings first before we're boys or girls, and freedom of speech, freedom of right, I have the right to say no. So I feel like there's no wrong or right way to say no. A lot of times, if they're saying she wasn't being firm enough and she eventually gave in, was because she was probably powerless at that time, and she didn't know what could come after her saying no, or she said no once and then he didn't respond or he didn't agree to that, and then forcefully. But I personally think there's no way of saying, like, you are not dumb. For you to be having sex, you know what yes and no means. So if
Right.
she says no, it means no, and you shouldn't just do it.
Okay, some people have used the analogy, Talia. I want to ask you, some people have used the analogy that if we keep, I mean, you don't walk around with a wad of cash, saying, oh, I have money. You don't advertise these things. Why are you putting on, these are rape apologists, by the way. Why are you putting on short skirts? Why are you visiting this guy? Why are you doing all of these things that could potentially mean that you're interested in, if you're protecting your money in the safe, you're locking up your shops at night, you're essentially protecting your wares, you're protecting your money by leaving it in the bank and not leaving, millions of naira in your home, or millions of pounds, or whatever amount of, or whatever currency you spend. Why? What do we, I guess my question is, are there wrong questions that we ask rape rape
Victim.
victims? Can there be, what kind of questions would you say?
Any sensible human being that's going to ask a rape victim a question should definitely know that you need to ask your questions with caution. The one thing you don't want to do is to make that woman feel that it's her fault, otherwise you get nothing.
Right.
You will get nowhere with your questioning if you keep making her feel like it's her fault that she wore the kind of clothing that she did, it's her fault that she was in the place that she did. People should be allowed to do what they want, and people need to learn self-control.
Right. So
Self-control is key here.
Right. So, Mr. Tunde, with that thought, with that in mind, I assume that you agree with that. With that in mind, should we believe everybody that says, I have been raped? Should we believe every single person that comes out? So there've been a lot of viral, messages and people coming out and saying, people have been speaking up on this situation and saying, you know what, actually, I want to call out somebody. Your favorite celebrity has done this to me. Several celebrities have been called out, some with proof of, of the situation, and some without. Should we believe everybody that comes out and screams rape?
That's a tricky angle. In my own opinion, if we encourage people to come out after being attacked, any form of attack, and we know there's repercussion for them coming out, then more people will come out if they are
at the right time.
So say for example, someone come to boggle your house, and you ring the police, and you know the police will come round and do a search and try to help you. Even though if they don't solve the problem, you know that they're there to help. You calling out brings some form of help. Next time, if your neighbor gets boggled, you encourage your neighbor to report the matter to the police.
Right.
But when you know, please let me just say,
go on.
But when you know that even when you speak out, nothing might happen, that discourages a lot of people from coming out. Because the thing is that we're going down the road of victim shaming.
Right.
When someone comes out and says, I've been raped, rather than demonizing the rapist, you try to say, oh, why are you dressed that way? Why is your cleavage that way? Why is your skirt that short? I mean, we're concentrating on the victim rather than the person who was assaulted them. So this is if we encourage people to speak up, and they know there are repercussions, they know whoever has done it will be brought to book, people will come forward and report it. They know that you will not blame them for being in such a situation. Sometimes you just say, for example, you're dating someone. Say, for example, you're dating someone and you go to see him, and he wants to have sex with you, and you say no. He should say, for this situation to come up and you say no, then I respect it. We should encourage our men to be, sometimes I call it romantic. I call it romantic intelligence sometimes. You should know when she wants it. Because at the end of the day, I'll quote Shaggy. Shaggy says, the lady should be satisfied before you're up and done. So sexual intercourse can be a one-way traffic. You should both get satisfaction out of it. There should be ability for you to have a recurring occurrence, like after that occasion, let the person come back again because they've had a good time.
Absolutely.
If you have that in mind, you won't just say, oh, this opportunity, let's just bust it, because you're never going to come back and have that again. So back to my emotional, romantic intelligence. People should know when no means no, and when no means no, because no will always mean no. Even if the person is firm or not. Not everyone is violent or aggressive or assertive. Some people are shy, and they can just say no. Because the thing is, if the person doesn't say yes, sometimes even yes under pressure is not the right way, because you would not satisfaction.
Not great.
So in my opinion, if we can encourage people to come out and speak up, and they know definitely there'll be something done about the crime that has been perpetuated or the attack that's been meted onto them, then people will come out.
Absolutely. So, Onyeda, did you want to chip in?
Yeah. Oh, I have a lot to talk. I have a lot to say, but I'll try and keep it short. So the first problem, I think, is entitlement.
Right.
I feel like a lot of men feel like, oh, and let me rephrase. I feel like a lot of African men in Africa feel entitled. The reason why I'm saying this is because No one teaches them when they come to the UK not to touch somebody without asking, not to dance with someone in the club without asking them first. They won't want to go and dance with, somebody when they know they'll get all of a sudden when they're white people. Oh, they have like morals, they have culture. Why is that? Why does that have to happen? It's because there are repercussions. Now, this takes me back to Nigeria. Even a lot of, the government, a lot of people in power, right, have oppressed people so much that they can't even come out freely talk about it. The police has every justice system or every power in Nigeria that's supposed to protect us women has failed us. The
Right.
police, women affairs, I don't even know what they're doing. The women in power, they have the platform, the governor's wives. If they're not talking about being submissive to your husband, then they're really not talking about anything. These are things that they should be using to educate people, educate sex education. Nigerians are they're so hypocrites. Like, I don't want to talk about sex, and it's a lie. By the time you start educating these people on time, they have enough knowledge of these things. A lot of parents included, you're not teaching your boys. It starts from small things. Oh, don't do that because you're a girl. Oh, you can do that because you're a boy.
Right.
I feel like little things that like gives them this, sense of entitlement. Oh, I'm a boy, so I can't do this. Oh, I'm a boy, so I should be able to do this. They just feel like it should be mine, whereas it's not yours. So
Okay.
I feel like from a really young age, a lot of parents have not really, educated the kind of education that they need, the kind of knowledge they need to instill in them. I'm not necessarily blaming every parent. I'm just saying they also play a major part in this as well.
Okay.
And a lot of times too, when you see these survivors, I don't like to call them victims because for them to have survived these things, they've been
But
strong enough. Yes,
yeah.
a lot of little children, especially, like parents need to read the room. If your kid is not comfortable with this uncle around, you need to understand. Don't force
Right.
them. Don't start saying, oh, why are you not greeting? Just leave them. There's something. Children are, I mean, they may not be as matured as we are, but they read all these things. They understand, and they hold on to these things because once a child is damaged from childhood, it's going to take
Yeah.
a lot.
Let me just come in there 1 second. So obviously there's been another video that's gone viral of a brother that was passionately kissing his sister. Okay. And honestly, that to me, that was more, I think it was because it was a little girl that was, that was being passionately kissed, and he was smacking his lips and so in these things happen within the family. Okay, so the boy has now come out to apologize to Nigerians for, what he did. And his mother in the background was saying, oh, translated into English, they were just playing, and that has boiled my blood. Is this part of the issue, essentially, Talia? Let me ask you that we try to which we try to normalize these things. We try to, be, you know, I want to say kissing or expressing affection by giving kisses is not necessarily an African thing. Okay, we don't necessarily express affection by kissing or hugging. We express affection by showering you with money or with gifts, making sure you attend. I'm talking about parents making sure you attend good schools and things like that. Just working towards your future. Are we trying to be too? I don't understand.
Westernized. I think
Exactly. What is this craze with people think? Why do we normalize these things so much, even within the family? And also, let me add into that: are we hypocrites if we don't call out these things within our own families?
First of all, no, I'm not normalizing this. This is not normal. It's not a normal affection. So let me address that first.
Right.
That's not a normal affection between a father and a child, a brother and a sister. I saw that kissing. That was not a sisterly kiss at all.
No, it
This
wasn't.
idiot was sucking this little girl's lips, French kissing this little child that had no idea what she was doing. She couldn't even understand it herself. She was
She was just there.
reluctantly She was reluctantly, every time he said, kiss me, she was reluctantly kissing him. Like, it's not normal, and it's not something that should be done in a family. And for that, if that woman is the mother of that little girl, and you are coming out to say, oh, no, it was a joke, is she okay?
She's not.
Is she normal? That clearly she herself has some psychological issues.
Exactly.
And it makes me wonder if she herself has actually abused this child, this boy, for her to be thinking it's normal. It's not normal. It's not. Is that a joke? Who in their right mind kisses a little girl like that? Like, why would you want to take the innocence of that child? You're exposing this child to a world that they know nothing about at that age of 4. It's not a normal thing. It should not be hidden in a family. It should be exposed. There is no way, God forbid, my enemy's husband will be abusing my enemy's daughter, and my enemy will keep quiet. It can't work. It can't work. It will not work. No, this issue is very, and I think a lot of women feel that way.
Right.
I'm not just passionate about it because it's a girl. It could be happening to a little boy. Like, I have one of each. And I cannot imagine my child, my son, my daughter going through this, and I normalize it, or I try to protect it. Heck to the no.
But what about
calling you all the way out?
What about the people within our family that we protect? So let's leave aside, you know, I don't want to say leave aside rape, but let's leave aside, you know, rape for us just a second and say, are you and I hypocrites, or are we all hypocrites for not calling out people within our own families? Because somebody said online, and I quite agreed with that, all of us are having these opinions on people that we don't know on the internet, you know, and we're giving all of these opinions. Are we hypocrites for not calling out people within our family by name, by naming and shaming them? Should we be shaming our families online as well?
If I was in that situation, I would be shaming my family. I don't care who you are. If you have hurt my child, you've hurt my cousin, you've hurt my niece, you've hurt somebody that's dear to me, and you're my uncle, you're my father, whoever you are, you've overstepped your boundaries. Clearly, you don't know the difference between right or wrong, and I will teach you what right or wrong is by putting you out there.
Let me get Mr. Tunde's opinion on that. Do you think that we should be calling out every single person, starting from family? Because, you know, rape or sexual assault doesn't just happen, you know, it doesn't just get carried out by strangers. It gets carried out by family members. You go to the market, it's happening. And I just want to tag to that question. Where is the Nigerian woman safe at this point? Somebody's not safe in the church. I mean, that's the abomination of the highest order. Someone's not safe in the church. You're not safe when you go to the market. I've actually experienced this myself. You're not safe in your school because, again, I've experienced this myself with a teacher, you know, showing too much affection and, doing too much. Where is the Nigerian woman safe at this point, and where should we be calling everybody out? What are you thoughts?
So I'll just quickly mention the video that you talked about just now.
Right.
I've not seen the video. I've not seen it, but in my own opinion, incest is incest, and it happens.
Absolutely.
Back to calling out everyone and anyone. In my own opinion, right is right with my family, with my friends.
Exactly.
With wrong is wrong with anyone and everyone. It's in my own opinion, the same standard should be met with, you know, should be for everyone.
Yes.
So if a member of my family, God forbid, does something heinous like this, I will be the first person to call them out. And this is me. I offend people a little bit sometimes because I don't know how to curry things. There's on my Facebook post. I've had two situations very recently. I was posting about the Black Lives Matter, the police injustice, and all of that. And some Caucasian Facebook friends of mine, were trying to tell me how to react. And I'm saying, no, that's not your place. You know, To me, the standard should be the same for everyone. You cannot, because you're my friend, now expect me to say, oh, because that guy is not my friend, I can dress him up. Like if he messes up, I can, and then because it's you, mate. If you cross the line, you get the truth from me. So anyone, anywhere, family or not, who is committing atrocities should be called out. Then with the Nigerian woman being safe, it's a tragedy that women are being preyed upon. Again, we have to so for every problem, there's always a foundation somewhere, somehow.
Right.
So I think this might be the point where I'll give my numbers on the age of consent, because the thing is, when you before you even think of abusing someone, when because now in the UK, if you even without forcing, if you go into a sexual intercourse or relationship with a minor, you go to jail. You'll be called a pedophile, which is what you are if you have sexual relationship with people who are minors. So in the UK, Russia, Netherlands, Norway, Finland, Belgium, the age of consent is 16 years old. In Spain, before 2013, it was 13 years old. Well, 2013, it got brought up to 16. In Turkey, the age of consent is 18. In Germany and China, the age of consent is 14.
In Nigeria.
Nigeria.
In Nigeria.
11.
In Nigeria, the age of consent is 11.
They're sick.
Come on.
You know what? Yeah, I literally want to tear up, because an 11-year-old, what does an 11-year-old know?
Nothing.
You've just started secondary school.
Where my point
barely.
goes. If you know, okay, if you get if a police arrest a man in Nigeria for having sex with a child of say 13, he can by law say the girl consented, because the age of consent is 11.
Yeah.
So this is where the genesis of the problem is. So if we can address the root cause of problems, a lot of problems will not be there in the first place.
Right.
So I think what most people should be doing, because now, oh, you shall, and then it goes away, isn't it?
Right.
Oh, it's
That's
still
true.
there. It will still happen again. Then people can now go off from saying, oh, it was forceful, to say they pay the person, entice them, and then sleep with them. Then it'll be violent, isn't it? But it isn't right. Maybe one of the things we should be looking at is to clamor for a change in the age of consent.
Yes.
Nigerians, influencers out there should speak and put pressure on the legislators. Let us increase the age of consent to what happens in the modern world, which we copy as Nigerians. We copy the States. In the United States, the age of consent is from 16 to 18. In the UK, which we copy as Nigerians, the age of consent is 16. Why don't we copy the right things? We might copy the age of consent and bring it up to 16. So this would demonize those who do those atrocities, and they know if they do it, they're pedophiles and they're going to jail. So I think that will reduce a lot of, incidents.
I just like to add to what he's saying now, that I feel like a lot of them, like the people in power, the people that are responsible for this thing, they marry child brides.
Yeah.
There was somebody in power that had a baby basically as a wife. So where does this start with us? Like, because we're always fighting, oh, women should get there. Women should we fight for them for basically everything to get power, and then when they get there, they're silent. You're there for a reason, to be our voice, because we have struggled, to get there. But I do not even think, I feel like if we start talking about this again, which is something that I feel like we should really, really pursue, they will just dismiss it as any other thing as well, because it's something that they benefit from, if that makes sense. I remember when that senator slapped that woman, and during his hearing and all of us, a woman that was on the panel was telling him, do you want us to protect you or not? I was so weak, because so where do you draw the line? So who is going to help us? You know, these things are just, it's as if it's so visible, but you are helpless because you really cannot do anything. Somebody that's supposed to help, I saw a placard of, I think it was one of the people in office, I don't know, one politician, holding a placard of saying justice for Uwa. Are you kidding me? You have the power to change this thing. We don't have the power. That's why we're using social media. That's why we're using placard. You have the power. Why are you holding a placard? So even the people that, as I said earlier, people that are supposed to protect us and be there for us, do they want to do these things? Do they want to do it?
Right.
Because Nigerians are so selfish that they're benefiting from it. I don't think they want to stop it. So
in this case, the rapist of this girl, Uwa, has still not been found because there's no database. There's nothing to. There's no way to catch this person.
Statistics, nothing.
Honestly, there's nothing to go on. He even left the fire extinguisher that he used to bash her to death.
Exactly, because he knows he can't be caught.
Because what database are you going to run the prints on? There's nothing. With obviously the country is in shambles, and there are people that are benefiting from the country being as it is. With even prostitutes getting assaulted by police officers in prison. I think that what you've said is correct, in that we have to kind of start from the roots, or at this stage, I think we have to start from the head, because the nation itself, the head, the people, the legislators, all of the people in power seem to be benefiting in from the police to the legislators who are marrying child brides, they just recently passed the bill that the age of consent was 11, and that it was going to stay that way. So obviously, with these people benefiting from that, I think that we need to start holding them accountable. They need to start, we need to start speaking up. But in Nigeria, as you've rightly said, Mr. Tunde, we talk about these things, we get angry, we put up all of these hashtags, and then within 2 weeks, it all dies down. Somebody somewhere has received some bribe for the from the celebrities to people in power to shut it down, and it gets shut down. And I feel like even we in diaspora, speaking up about this situation, we're obviously speaking up. We're obviously speaking up because we're used or accustomed to different laws and different angles being outside of the country. How do we in diaspora help people in Nigeria, apart from obviously using our voices as we are right now? How do we do that? How do we get to that point? Does it help that we go in front of the Nigerian embassy and hold up placards and make all of these noises? Will that help, or what would help?
Can I
Yes, that's directed to you. Sorry.
I think, unfortunately, we cannot fix this immediately.
No.
Right.
The best way to go about this is to start from the grassroots. The reason is, if you and I, say the four, we're four now, 4 of us. If 4 of us form a committee, and that has to do with money. As Nigerians, we cannot even trust ourselves. That's just committee. We're not in government. We're just committee trying to, maybe we raise funds, we want to execute a project. We cannot even trust ourselves with money, not to talk of the leadership. I think if every individual Nigerian can start to see things in a different light, to say, we can do better. When we have a reorientation of our mindset, to say, you and I can put hands together and make our country better, or make whatever situation better, then we'll start to vote right. When we start to vote right, we will get the right leaders who would have the same mindset we are to make things better in place. And probably will make that a long journey. But the world we live in, the United States, the United Kingdom, the advanced world, people took a stand to get to where we are.
Absolutely.
There are few people who are good and get into power. They can do a bit of, influence in their sphere. So I'll just say, every Nigerian, anywhere you are, in diaspora, at home, anywhere, start to think you can do better, and then over time, we would make a great change. But fixing this straight away might not work, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, let me just get in there. Talia, he's just we can't fix it immediately.
No.
But some of the things that we can do is, raising the next generation to just be better and do better. How do we teach our young boys consent? And should we be teaching our girls not to put themselves in questionable situations? What do you think?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, I have a boy and a girl, and it is my duty as a parent, as a mother, to ensure that they understand these things. This morning I found myself in deep thought, thinking, I've never been somebody that thought, discussing such issues with children, especially like in such young age.
Right.
I've never been the one to think that, it's a good idea, because I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine a few years back, and she would always be like, I always ask my daughters, how was school? What happened? Asking specific questions. And I actually learned from that. I started doing it with my daughter to say, how was school? But I would never still probe her enough to get more details, because I luckily for me, I have a relationship where my daughter's actually very comfortable to say, oh, mummy, this happened, and mummy, this happened, which I feel like I'm blessed for that. But this morning I found myself thinking that perhaps it is a good idea to make them aware, because I really put myself in that 4-year-old's, the little girl that was being kissed by her brother. And I thought, if that was my child, I want them to be comfortable enough to come and say to me, mummy, even in innocence, Uncle so-and-so kissed me this way. Mummy, I don't understand why Uncle so-and-so had to kiss me and suck my lips. You know what I mean? I want them to be comfortable enough to say.
But would that not come from them even understanding that it's wrong? Because he's with a trusted person, just like the women that are being molested by their pastors are being molested by somebody that is a trusted person. Imagine going to your mother at the age of, say, 5, 6 and saying, Pastor so-and-so during the deliverance touched me inappropriately.
But the thing is that these men that are constituting this horror, they actually go as far as telling these children to keep
not to say anything.
Don't say anything. So I think it's very necessary as parents to develop that bond that I am your mother. Even if any adults come and tells you, including your father, tells you, don't tell me, I'm your mummy, come to me. I won't hurt you, and vice versa, because it could be the mother that's hurting the little boy or the little girl. People are these days. You don't know what they think, and I hope and pray that as parents and as mothers, as fathers, we are teaching our children, because Mr. Bella, I'm aware that you have 2 boys. I hope that as parents, we are teaching our children, whether you're a mother, whether you're a father, that they should be open to discuss certain things with you, because honestly, I was never of that thought. But in the last few days, I've actually been thinking it's a good idea to let your kids aware. I don't know the right age. I can't speak on the right age, but things are happening. This world has literally turned upside down. Everybody's evil in their thoughts, evil in their doings. And I really don't want my kids to be victims of of such circumstances. So we need to be putting that awareness out there as parents. We need to be letting our kids aware of the possible dangers that is out there, whoever it may be. They need to know how to handle themselves.
Okay, what are your thoughts on that, Oyi?
I feel like, I mean, it's a number of things as well, you know. Educating them, telling them things on time, as I said earlier, sex education, which is very important, and things that they shy away from. Us growing up, I know that, I mean, you hardly ever find your parents sitting down and talking to you about that, because they tell you from a young, oh, if one uncle touches you, you're getting pregnant. Whereas you're supposed to explain to them, so much complications, the diseases, these are the implications of doing this and that. And so, in their own mind of scaring you, they tell you, oh, if this uncle touches you, just, um, you get pregnant. But then also because they don't make themselves approachable enough, if that makes sense. They're always, why you do this? Why you do that? And if you do that to children, they kind of shy back. I don't have any kids yet, but I can see and I understand that if you shout at them a lot, you would they just keep to themselves. And it's when you grow older, they want to start building that relationship with you. Whereas, I mean, it's not as if it's late or anything. It's just that as at the time where would have been able to approach you, you kind of killed that vibe, if that makes sense. You kind of put a barrier. Yes, I understand that they're being protective, but you not making yourself approachable to your parents, to your kids. I don't think is necessarily a good thing. And as I said earlier, parents need to be extremely observant about how their children vibe to people. They want to force one uncle down your throat. Oh,
Right.
why are you not greeting this uncle? Go and sit. No, nobody is sitting on anybody's lap. Why? Why can she not sit on the chair?
Right.
If there's no seat, she should stand. Even for boys as well. You hear boys that being molested in the most ridiculous places, and you hear boys that molested by their housemaids, by one older cousin, by just crazy, crazy things. So yeah, as she said earlier, it's so important to make yourself approachable to them. And it's also important to draw a line between being a parent and being a friend. You still have to be firm in as much as you are being approachable to them. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
such a thin line, which I feel like when you become too friendly with them, you also have to explain to them that there are consequences for these things. So it's very tricky having to be a friend and be a parent at the same time. I feel like you just have to strike a balance between it, so your kids are not like afraid to open up to you. And I'm so grateful for like this generation of parents that we have now that like are aware, they're putting themselves out there.
Are
People
we
are
though?
right.
Are we though? Let me say this. Aren't these generation of parents the same people online who are saying, "Well, why did she wear this? But why?" Those are the same. These are the same
Honestly,
people.
yeah. I
And
feel
those
like
are the enlightened ones. To be honest, do you are today's parents better, Mr. Tunde? What do you think?
Um, it is okay. So this is what I think. When you're growing up, there are things your parents would have done well. There are things your parents would not have done well. As a right-thinking person who wants to be better, you probably want to do those things that your parents did well with your children.
mm-hmm.
Those things that your parents did not do well, you probably want to make amends.
Right.
So it's all about having a functional family unit. I'm a person who believes so much in foundation of kids growing up. When you have a
Right.
good foundation, a lot of things will fall in place. If your parents are together, they love themselves, there's love in the house, the children will most likely learn to love their partners. You have to be firm and fair with the kids. When they're doing well, you encourage them, you spoil them when you need to. When they're not doing well, because children have ways of pushing the boundaries as well, there has to be someone who is the law in the house. In
Right.
some homes, you always have to have like a good cop, bad cop.
Bad
Mm-hmm.
cop.
In
Yeah.
some homes, the mom is the one everyone fears.
Yeah.
They go to the dad and say, "Oh, this."
Mhm.
And in some homes, it's the dad. I always say it's good when parents can switch roles.
Yeah.
So
Right.
maybe on this occasion, or maybe with chocolates. Oh, daddy will allow you chocolates. Say
Daddies.
no, no. But maybe maybe with the way you speak to people, or daddy will say no. You have to be respectful. Mommy has to be a bit. You have to be able to switch those roles. There's something that I think is practical. If every morning while your kids are growing up, when you can still give them a bath and a shower and all of that, that's like my me time with my own kids. I
Mm.
do I do them showers almost every morning. And when you're doing that, if there's anything wrong with them, you can detect easily. You know,
Yes.
Mm.
um, the conversation sometimes, lately now we've been allowing them have them showers themselves. There's sometimes when we're having a shower, the conversation they have with me is different from the conversation that they have with my
Mom.
wife. So
Yeah.
there's some things that happened in school that it is during the shower that you get to know.
Mm.
Oh, or maybe there's a scratch on your hand. What happened here? Oh, I fell over. Oh, how did it happen? Little things like that. If a girl is being abused and you're the one doing the shower in the morning, you most likely will know. If
Mm-hmm.
the child is in pain, they'll pull back, and there are a
Mm.
lot of things you can
Yes.
detect if the
Yeah.
foundation is right. You see. However, this is not a knock on people who are in single, probably single parents. Because
Household.
most of the time it's not their fault. They
Mm.
in that situation. But just try your best to build a good bond with the kids. Kids can be manipulative, so we don't want to be too friendly, too overprotective. Um, because sometimes kids can be saints at home and they're horrible outside.
Mm.
So it's just them just pulling a wool over your face. Sometimes you see the handwriting on the wall, but you just say, "Oh no, that's my little baby." So
Mm.
sometimes it's good to be able to
Okay.
strike a balance.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. To sort of just pull this to a close, um, obviously there are I will link some I'll put some links in the description box for people who are victims of rape or sexual assault to kind of reach out to the right organizations so that they can get help. Not just, sometimes you've healed physically, but you haven't healed mentally.
Mm.
Totally. Yeah.
And sometimes it carries you into your relationships and it just doesn't work out. And
Mhm.
so I will link some of those help those places where you can get help in the description box. So I just want to thank you, both of you, for coming on the show today. Mr. Tunde, thank you.
Thank
It
you
was
for having
great
us.
having having your thoughts and you enlighten us. And Oyi, I want to thank you as well for
Thank
coming
you.
on and sharing your view. It's very important that we all speak up. Thank you so much. So it brings us to the end of this segment today, guys. If let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe and like and share this. It's very important that as many people as possible hear this. Thank you guys for tuning in again, and we'll catch you in our next video.